everybody. This is Crystal Proxmire of Oakland County Times, and we're here today with Tom Owensby, who is running for state representative in the 52nd district. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Crystal. How are you doing today?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for doing this. Can you just tell us why you've decided to run?
So I've decided to run for a few reasons here. One of the main reasons why I've chosen to run now is because I would say that have we have lost faith in democracy. Both mainly as a system, I would say, in this country and other places in the world. This is due to a lot of factors, but one of the factors I want to try to solve by running is I want to prove that government can work for the people still. As obviously, most people pay attention to the federal government and how dysfunctional that is. And our state government with its divided divided Senate and House, they haven't been able to make as much progress as, would be ideal for people. So I want to try to prove that we can make government work, and also the fact that I also want to try to prove that democracy can still act as a check against powerful individuals and corporations, because that's the one thing that the people still have. They still have the power to do so. My district, is very conservative. The odds are against me winning, which is all right. I'm always up for a challenge, but I want to try to prove, if I'm victorious, that the average person can go out, they can still get into groups together and take on entrenched power and win.
So, what are some of those things that you'd like to work on if you're elected?
So if I'm elected, there's a few things that I'd like to see worked on. Firstly, I think we need to enact a moratorium, an immediate moratorium on data centers being built here in Michigan, because they cause a lot more problems than they solve right now. And so, for an example of that is because they use so much electricity, our electrical grid cannot handle that at the moment. And we are seeing a lot of the problems that AI itself is going to be causing, such as people losing their jobs, which is something that will happen. There's nothing, with as much as is being pumped in the AI funding, there's going to be so many jobs that are being lost. So we need to see the impacts that AI has on our society as a whole. And this moratorium, could be lifted once we have our electrical grid all updated and able to handle the load, once we have enough energy being produced from alternative sources such as wind, solar, nuclear, geothermal, even wave power, anything that's non-fossil fuel related, which would be ideal. Secondly, I think we need to work on reforming how our roads are being built, being paved. We need to work on how the quality of the roads, because as many people know, we tend to go with the lowest bid contracts and the cheapest possible quality. Whereas what we need to do is, while it'll be more expensive at the beginning, we need to use higher quality ingredients to make sure that the roads last longer after they're built, so that we're not repairing them every year, every other year. And thirdly, we also need to reform our auto insurance laws. As many people know, we have some of the highest rates in the country, and just across the border in Ohio, they have much lower rates than we do, despite the fact that they have very similar weather to us. And to say it's also the case in Indiana as well. They also have a lot lower rates than we do. So we need to reform the auto insurance laws so that people in general are paying a lot less while still maintaining level of quality that should be provided through our auto insurance.
Can you tell us a little bit about your professional experience and some of the skills you bring to the table?
So I am definitely a political outsider. Right now, I work as a groundskeeper at for the Independence Township. I work at a cemetery, and my past professions, I've been like a substitute teacher, been a forklift driver. So I don't have any relevant political experience. However, I've always been very interested in politics. People have, close friends and family have told me that I should get involved in politics for a very long time. And, I figured this time around would be, it'd be a good time for me to get involved because of all the problems that we face. And I'd also say as well, because I have a master's degree in international relations. So not only, as I've already said, looking at how other states solve their problems, I also look at how other countries have solved problems similar to what we have.
So, what are some ways you've been involved in the community?
Well, I'll be honest, I haven't been too involved in like local stuff. Just last month, I went to the Waterford Democratic Club for the first time. I'm going to go there again for their next couple meetings. They have monthly meetings. Um, and I will say, though, that I do volunteer with an organization. Again, it's not a local organization. It's called Engine. Uh, I Because I'm very passionate about the current war in Ukraine right now, and the Engine program that helps Ukrainians learn English. So once or twice a week, I meet with some Ukrainians I know. They all live in Ukraine, and I help them learn English. And then I've also tried learning some Ukrainian as well. My Ukrainian's not as good as their English is, but I'm trying to help build a cultural connections between Michigan, and the United States as a whole, and Ukraine.
In this race, there is some competition in the primary as well as in November. Why should the voters pick you?
I think they should pick me because I am a pretty trustworthy person. I have pledged that I will not take any money from corporations or super PACs or anything like that. Um, I've always been a pretty honest person, like I've said. Uh, and I will just tell people, like, vote for me this time. I'll prove my worth to you. And if you don't think I do a good enough job, vote against me the next time. I don't mind. I have to prove myself to the voters. The voters serve the people, not the other way around.
So, if people want more information about you and your campaign, where can they go?
I have a website right now. It is Tom Owensby for staterepresentative.com. I've gotten it all figured out with how the website is, so it should be, when you look it up, you should be able to find it pretty easily. You can always look at my LinkedIn too. I'm going to start posting stuff related to campaign there soon enough. Just look up my name, Tom Owensby. You'll see a nicer picture of me than what you're looking at right now. And then you'll know it's me. So those are the two places right now that you can look at.
Perfect. Well, thank you for taking the time to do the interview with us today.
Yep. Thank you for having me.